This is Martin Speake and Charlie Rees here, and we've been collaborating for a few years because we met when I was teaching at the Royal Academy of Music, and Charlie was a student there. He was a saxophone student, and then I found out that he's a fantastic arranger as well, and I always wanted somebody, a kindred spirit, to arrange my music because I can't be bothered. I'm a small group player, really. So that's how we met, isn't it, Charlie?
Yeah, that's how we met. But I was aware of your music quite a while before, and the first CD I had of yours was Always the First Time, which you did in 2013 with my now mentor and good friend Jeff Williams, the wonderful American drummer, and Mike Outram, who plays on our Big Band album, incidentally. And so a lot of the tunes on that album I ended up arranging. But I think, sitting down as I did 5 years ago, which is when we started this project, looking through your tunes, there were so many tunes. You're such a prolific composer. I had so much choice. And, I really had my pick, and you've given me free rein through the whole project to pretty much arrange what I wanted. So do you want to talk a bit about the tunes that we did, and maybe a little bit of background or so?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's really exciting for me, and we're having this conversation because we've got on June the 16th at the Pizza Express in Dean Street in London. We're going to launch this collaboration live. It's the first gig of a big band and the CD. Because I'm still producing some CD. The CD will be available then. And so this is, as I think I said earlier, this is like a culmination of, what's 6 years now, is it? Because you were at Academy at 2020.
Yeah.
And you left a couple of years ago.
2024.
Yeah, like nearly 2 years ago now. So
it is nearly 2 years.
And I feel we've become good friends, and because we sort of we're like-minded on various issues. And so in the saxophone lessons, I don't know how it came about. Maybe you said you arranged, I think you told me you arranged some stuff when you were at school, right?
Right.
Arranged some things.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, I've always wanted a kindred spirit to arrange and just see what happens when they arrange something. So I didn't say anything about any tune, I don't think, did I? I said, can you just do this one? What was the first tune we did there?
The first tune we did was Change of Heart, which doesn't actually appear on the album. And I actually was given that chart, not by you, but by another student at the Academy who you'd workshopped it with in an ensemble, I think. So the original... That's right, yeah. I think the original conversation... I must have mentioned I was an arranger, because I remember being pretty frustrated by a lack of sort of opportunity to write big band charts. I mean, it helps to have a reason to write a big band chart. It's hard to just get the motivation to sit down and do one when you don't really have an ensemble to take it to, or that there's not somebody asking for it. And so I sat down with your stuff after this conversation we had. After I must have mentioned my sort of general frustration. And you mentioned you were in the London Jazz Orchestra at the time, and so there we had a band that we could take stuff to. So I arranged that tune, Change of Heart. I also arranged Always the First Time, which is one that does appear on the album that we recorded eventually.
And Bouncy.
Yeah. And Bouncy, we did Bill Rothel as another one from back then. I think these were the original four, and two of them appear on the album.
Well, that's so great. I'm glad you reminded me about all that, because when I said I've got some great charts, someone's finally done my charts. He's a great student, and the LJ was going, "Oh no, it's not a student." They thought it's not going to be up to it. And I brought the charts in, and they were completely, wow. This is Scott Stroman, who was the conductor of the band, said, "Yeah, this is pretty amazing. This is high level," and they were your early ones, and when the ones now are even higher level, as far as I'm concerned. There's a great clarity to your writing. That's what I like. It's really amazing. Great harmony, great rhythmic sense, and incredible orchestration. It's all very beautiful. So, yeah, you reminded me about how it started. I was in London Jazz Orchestra, and I took these charts, and the band played them pretty regularly. And then you actually played in the band quite regularly as well. Sometimes depping for me on
That's
lead.
usually right. Yeah.
Yeah, but other times you played baritone in it once. You played tenor.
Yeah, but yeah, mostly it was definitely for you on lead alto because you had like a dental problem, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. I couldn't play for 3 months. Yeah,
you were knocked out for playing. So it was cool, really, because I got not only just playing with the band, but I got to play my charts, which I hadn't done before. I did conduct the band once when Scott wasn't around, so I'd had that experience with the charts, but I never had the experience of playing my charts. But no, thank you. Thank you for what you said about my arranging. It's very nice to hear. I'd been arranging since I was 13 years old, and I kind of started out really doing show tunes, for big band plus strings, this kind of stuff with a singer. And then I had some good influences sort of thrust upon me by Richard Isles, who was my teacher at Cheltenham School of Music, where I was. He kind of brought me down a sort of more modern big band arranging path, exposed me to some more stuff, which really set me up nicely to arrange your music. Actually, I think I got very into Marty Paich, his arranging. It's kind of an obscure reference, but that was around the time I was studying with you at the beginning of my time at the academy. So I think all of these influences found their way into the arrangements.
Well, sorry, go on.
I try to, with my arrangements, just write down what I'm hearing. I have a sound in my head, and I've not always had the practical skills to execute that fully onto paper. I don't necessarily know what I'm hearing. I've listened to so much stuff that I have a sound in my head. But now, as we sort of more recent years, when I really got down to writing most of the charts that appear on the album, my skill set had developed enough where I could execute most of what I was hearing.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about you is that you're not fashionable. No, I mean, it's very rare. I don't know whether I've been taught at the academy for about 35 years. I don't know whether another student ever said to me, "I really like Marty Paich," who's amazing, right? And there's so much in the music that's unexplored, isn't it? And so that's very, very interesting, that because I know you've got other influences as well. It's very interesting that he will be part of your influence.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you want to say something about that? Or?
Yeah, I will. Just to be more specific about Marty Paich, because there's a lot to him. From producing Barbra Streisand records, and he went on to do a lot more. But in the 1950s, he was a very nice jazz pianist and a really great arranger. And he's most famously with Art Pepper Plus 11. Those are his arrangements. Yeah. But there were similar recordings they did with the same kind of musicians that were in his name. Particularly, there was one called the Picasso of Big Band Jazz, that's for about the last 10 years, I think that's really had a massive influence on me. And I wouldn't say, I'm not trying to write charts that sound like they're from the 50s, and they certainly don't sound like they're from the 50s, and that wouldn't work for your music anyway. But just there are certain elements in the music, sort of counterpoint elements, the way he uses the brass and the saxes, not necessarily as sections in and of themselves, but there'll be certain instruments from those sections which work in sort of smaller ensemble units alongside each other, and that sort of become a part of my arranging. So yeah, that's really where the influences of him came in. And then harmonically, I was very fortunate to be with Richie Byrak, his student for a few years before he died, which happened earlier this year. And I really learned a lot from him, and he worked a lot of his ideas into my mind. He was a real harmonic genius, and so that some of that's in there as well, definitely. And these are two completely, musicians who had nothing to do with each other, very little in their sounds that have anything in common. But in me, they're parts of my identity, let's say.
That's so important, having these very disparate, almost opposite influences, and then for different periods, aren't they, as well? And me giving you my tunes, which is nothing like either of those people, right? Really. And then so you've got all this input. It's really exciting for me, the whole thing. So what we did, or what I did, I suppose, was decide to record my own big band. With players mostly that I'd played with, and then a couple of recommendations.
Right.
And Mark Nightingale, who's a great trombone player on it, told me about, first of all, he told me about Chris Traves, who's another trombone player and a kind of genius at recording and mastering and mixing. Incredible ears, he can hear everything. And also the studio that he recorded at, still records at regularly, which is the Eleanor Hollis School in Hampton, sort of the southwest of London. And so he told me about this incredible room. And I said, can we do it without headphones? I don't want to play headphones, use headphones. And we could. It's like a huge room. In one way, you think, oh no, you're really going to need headphones for this. And absolutely, we didn't. And that's really exciting for me and people can see that on there's a video on YouTube of one track, and there's a short video as well, where you can see the room and all of us playing. Pretty much. Did anyone wear headphones? Can't remember.
No.
Maybe,
maybe
did the rhythm section? Maybe Mike did, or
I don't think he did. But I don't remember anyone wearing headphones. We certainly, as the horn players, didn't have to, and that was really so great because we could just play kind of live in a way, you know.
Yeah,
we've got videos of everything. We'll be sharing videos of all the tracks, you know, once we release it after the concert at Pizza Express on the 16th of June. And we have such wonderful players, you know. A lot of them are people you've worked with. Some of them even in the London Jazz Orchestra, you know, Martin Hathaway, Martin Gladdish, Scott Stroman, the conductor. These are all people who we've kind of been working on some of these charts with, at least from right at the beginning. And then we've got Louis Dowdeswell playing lead trumpet, absolutely phenomenal. You know, really great brass section, and of course Mark Nightingale, as you said, on trombone. Emil Viklicky came all the way over from Czechia to play piano for us. And then players around the band who you've worked with a lot over the years. So it's a real like fusion of different people with different experiences which they brought to the music. And I must say this was the most exciting part of the journey so far for us. You know, was working with a band of people you'd put together. And we did all of this in one day.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. We recorded the album in a day, and with a bit of a technical problem in the middle of the day.
Exactly.
It's Chris Traves sorted out amazingly quickly. So that's a really great memory for me that day. And there was very important people in that band, including you. But you know, people I've worked with for a long time. Mike Outram, I've been playing for 25 years in almost all my projects. He's on guitar in that. And Alyson Cawley, I've played with in several projects over the last 8 years. You know, duo, Ornette band, Charakesi, all kinds of things of mine. And then there's been more recent people. You know, like Tom Hooper, the drummer, who plays incredibly on the album, who was a student at the Royal Academy of Music 30 years ago. And then I didn't see him for 30 years. I saw him on a Tim Whitehead gig, and I thought, I've got to play with you. And then we've been playing almost weekly together, duo. And so we have a deep musical connection as well.
So, you know, it's a bit of appreciation for Tom Hooper quickly, because I think you said this was the first big band album he'd recorded. Is that right?
Yeah.
So he came to this session completely prepared. We didn't have any trouble from the drums through the whole session. We knew all these charts. I'd prepared these demos for everyone to listen to. He had it down. Everything was perfect. He knew what was going on throughout the whole session. It was really amazing. I was very surprised when you told me he'd never done a big band recording before.
He's one of the most conscientious musicians I've come across.
No question.
Absolutely incredible. He'd been listening to the charts and playing along, and he started doing it already 2 weeks before this gig. Right. He's just told me about that as well.
Amazing. That's great. He's
a
really special
person.
musician.
Yeah. He's totally reliable. There's no agenda.
In the rhythm section with him, Matt Ridley, who you've been playing with a bit more recently as well, is that right?
Just a little bit, yeah.
On the bass, yeah.
And he was a Trinity student years ago. Trinity.
Yeah. I met him. I think it was 2013 as well, when he was doing a bit of a tour around the UK. I met him in Shrewsbury. Okay. So yeah, he'd just done his album Dymos. Jason Yard, and I can't remember who else played on that. So yeah, I mean, I've sort of got a few connections with people in this band, but they're mostly people that you've put together. We really had something special with this band, and I can't wait to play with. Most of them are able to join us again for this Pizza Express gig. Of course, some of them are really, really busy. Brass players in particular, they've always got other things going on. So a few new musicians will be joining us. But for the most part, we've got the same lineup. I'm really, really excited to play with them again.
Yeah, me too. So what next, do you think?
What next? Well, I'd love to, move on and do another album, really. But we've got to get this one out first. And I really hope this is something that people can listen to and see the level of passion, time, investment that's gone into this, and really experience Martin's music in a new way. Because you've recorded a lot of these tunes a few times, I mean, Bill Rottle's a bit more of a recent one, isn't it? But tunes like Twister, I think you've recorded a couple of times with Ethan Iverson and with Mike Outram as well.
Mike and Jeff, yeah.
Mike and Jeff, yeah. So there's quite a few of these tunes. You're a prolific composer, but you revisit your music a bit, because you've made so many recordings, right? I don't know. Do you know what the count is of the number of CDs you've made?
I've got 30 CDs, yeah. I mean,
30.
It's 30 under my own name, yeah.
Right. So, I mean,
and it's really about impressive. There's 4 or 5 that have not been released as well. There's loads. There's tons. I don't know that's a bigger discussion we should talk about. How do you get music out these days? So this is one reason we're doing this. We want people to hear about this music and to come and support live music and come and support the band. This is a really high level band of musicians.
These kind of launch events with, in coordination with concerts, they seem to be something that more and more people are doing now. And I think they seem like really joyous occasions. You get to experience this music performed live for the first time. You get to be around the people who made the music in the studio, and you can you meet everyone. We're all there to sign CDs for people who still buy CDs, but we'll have CDs. They're there for people to buy. Come and meet us. Come and experience this music live. And I think it's the best opportunity because I don't know when we'll next play. There's quite a few of us. I mean, I live in Germany, so I'm coming over to London for this, the first concert I'll do in London since January. And Emil, the pianist, he's got to come from Czechia. So people are coming from all over. Jeremy Price drives down in Birmingham, isn't he?
Yeah.
So people come from all over to do this. It's not an easy thing to get a band like this together. So when a band like this is playing, for me, when I'm going to gigs, you've got to see them when they happen. So I hope that people are available to come and join us because I think it's going to be something really special.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, it's June the 16th.
June the 16th.
2026. Very soon.
At Pizza Express, Soho.
Dean Street. 8 p.m.
8. Is that when music starts? Is that right?
Yeah. Get in 6:30 because there's going to be a huge rush. So arrive at 6:30.
Yeah, it's going to be packed. Buy your tickets now.